Hello! So I'm going to do a quick little video to tell you about what a quick read would be, what a quick human design reading would be. So like at a festival and things when we do those. So what we talk about during those readings, we quickly go over your energy type, your profile, your strategy and authority, your decision-making authority, your emotional themes, your brain, like how your brain focuses or receives information, your digestion, your strongest strengths, your environment, and your motivation. So what I'm going to do to kind of show you what this will be like is I'll just do a quick, fast version of one of those about my chart for you. So we get your birth date, time, and location, so make sure you bring that with you. And we plop in that information into the computer, and you get this really cool chart right here like this. So this gives you all the information about what I'm going to talk about. So, and that's the body graph. That's called a Human Design body graph. So we will start by saying, for me, for example, my energy type, I am a generator. And what a generator means is you have the sacral center, which is this red box. That guy right there will always be colored in red. And that is where you get your life force energy, like your drive and your fuel to do something. So you have this really awesome spark inside of you when it's like a yes. And then when it's a no for you and it's like something that you probably shouldn't be doing, you'll get kind of like a tightness in there. So that is your sacral. And that is kind of like a superpower for you. And you can use that to help guide you through life. So one really cool thing about having a sacral is you can do sacral sessions when you're stuck on making decisions. And how those work is you can have somebody ask you a bunch of random yes or no questions that are just really basic, like, is the sky red? Is the flower pink? Is this shirt yellow? And then they have to respond and answer like instantly, no thinking, no pausing, and they respond by saying uh-huh or uh-uh. So super quick, no pause, put that answer out there. And then once you kind of get in a flow of that and you're in your routine of then you're not thinking, you're listening to your body and your answers are true and trustful. And then what you do is you have the person sneak in a little question that you're stuck on. So maybe you're deciding, like, do I really want to go to this store? So whatever, I don't even know what I'm saying, but you don't want to go to that store or not. You're deciding and it's a tough choice and you can't decide if the store's for you or not. So you go through this list of yes or no questions that somebody asks you and you're responding super quickly. And the person sneaks that question in, do you want to go to the store? Then you do, you're good, that's your truth. If your answer, nope, that's your truth, don't go to the store. And that's all you need to do, that's your answer, it's your truth. That will be your truth, your real answer. And learning to trust that is really awesome. So, sacral energy for generators. And what generators are here to do is, they are here to do the work of the world. So there's two kind of generator types. There's a generator and a manifesting generator. And the manifesting generators are the busy builders. They're here to do the work for efficiency. And generators are here to build to mastery. So generators may take a little longer to do the work that they're working on. And that's just how they do. They want to build it, right? And that's the work they do. So the most important thing about the work they do is that it has to light them up and fuel them. Now, that does suck. Yes, you do still have to do the stuff in life that's not so fun. Yes, we have to do our chores and, pay our bills and do all that stuff. But in order to get through that stuff that we don't really want to do, it's important to fuel that sacral. And how do you do that? You do that by doing things you enjoy, doing things that light you up. And for example, for me, I like to go to like the river or the forest or wherever there's rocks and trees and stuff and just explore and walk around and look at the animals, listen to the animals, be out in nature. But I really love to look for rocks. Pretty rocks are awesome. So that's one way I like to. I also like to just do stuff like go on bike rides or go shoot some hoops outside and just play. Or sometimes you even like to do things like, what is it called? Organizing. Something that seems like a boring thing to other people, you might totally enjoy. So whatever it is that lights you up, that's the thing you got to do. So, and yes, that's the basics of being a generator. Let me say something about my strategy. So as a generator, my strategy was to respond to things. And How do I know if I should respond to something or not? I follow my decision making authority. And for me, my decision making authority would be emotional, because I am an emotional generator. So what that means is this box right here, or this triangle right here, this brown one will be colored in. And when it's colored in, that means that I have consistent access to that energy. So I have emotions running through me all the time, 24/7. If it's white, that means that you don't have consistent access to that energy. So you need other people, and you need the energy of the planets and just connections of things in your life to give you that energy. So it's not the same for you all the time. So for me, my decision making authority being emotional, I have a couple different waves in my emotional wave. So in order for me to make a decision for my truth, I have to sit on it until I come to clarity with my emotional wave. So how I would do that is, say I have the choice of like, should I go on this trip? So like, I was invited on a trip. Do I really want to go? So my first instinct is probably like, yeah, I'll go with you. But the thing is, it depends on the environment you're in and who you're with. Like if I, for example, have an open will, so while I'm with this group of people and they invited me on this trip, I could be super excited in it because I'm picking up on their will to do it, because it's their, their drive, their passion, their fire. They want to do it. So I could confuse that. So when I get home, I got to think about it again, like when I'm in my own energy. So maybe it's time for bed. So I'll ask myself that, do I want to go on this trip? Oh, yeah, I do. I get that. I got that spark and that fire, and I want to do it. But if for some reason I get the, I don't know, no, I'm not sure. So remember that. Then you get up in the morning. How do you feel about it then? Do you feel that excitement, or do you feel that kind of dread, or I don't know? So if you get the answer the same 2 times in the row, then I would recommend one more time just to make sure. But and that would be a yes for you. But if you kind of get a yes, and then you kind of get a no, and then you're kind of waffling back and forth, you don't have clarity yet. So kind of feel into it, and then decide if after a couple of days, or how, if it's been too, like you've been really festering on this and it's not coming to completion, you're not getting any clarity on that, then that's usually a no for you. So my emotional authority helps me make the decisions, and it's important that I ride the waves, and I have a couple different waves. One of my waves is pretty stable, so you don't really feel it as much, and it just kind of flows, right? The other wave kind of like notches up, it just climbs, and then once you get up really high and excited and really like ambitious and passionate about what I'm going to do, then I may level out there and stay at that space for a little while, and then I'll slowly like start notching back down, and then I get to this level of more melancholy and calmness. And it's really important for me to feel into all of those levels of feeling and actually be in them, so I can get clarity and come to the decision that I really need to make that's best for me. And part of that is going into this next thing that I'm going to say is my profile. My profile is a 6-2. Now the 6 in me goes through 3 stages of life. So when I was younger, from 0 to 30 years old, I would have been somebody who's an experimenter, an explorer, an adventurous. I have to try everything for myself. I'm really brave and curious, and I got to touch everything and feel everything and just experience everything for myself. So I was pretty fun. I was wild. I was crazy. I would do the things that people wouldn't expect a lot of people to do, and I had no fear, and that was kind of crazy. But once you hit 30 years old-ish, or whatever, 28 to 30, sometimes a little earlier, but you go through a Saturn return, and when you start to feel in on those energies, something usually triggers in your life, like something crashes or burns or bumps you, or just like shocks you into waking up to paying attention to something and realizing like, hey, it's time to shift. So then you end up shifting, and you almost turn into a totally different person. You're like, you lost that craziness, that wild sparks where you have to try everything and you have to experience everything, and there's just no way anybody can convince you not to do that stuff. That adventure and stuff kind of goes away. It doesn't make you lame or dull or boring or anything, but you just don't have that same curiosity and like force behind it, I guess, that you want to try everything and just need to. So during that time, what you're doing is you're learning from all those experiences, because I'm going to tell you, most of those little experiences that you have fun doing, there's a lesson involved in them. So you're supposed to figure something out. But so what you do is you're contemplating all this stuff and then deciding how you want to go. Do you want to be a victim or a martyr? Do you want to let that stuff push you down and take you over? Do you want to let that dominate you? Or are you going to take that and figure out how you can use that, empower yourself, grow and learn and move on from that? So once you get over this stage of life, and that's like 30 to 50 years old, then you become what's called a role model. And you're just a role model by being who you are, your truth, but you have to be your truth. You can't be like in your shadow side of the role model, because that's not what we want to express to the world, right? We want to show people that it's awesome to be yourself and to be who you are and to overcome all these hurdles and obstacles that may have happened to you in life, right? Okay, so the other half of my profile is what's called a hermit. And a hermit is somebody who needs to be in their own energy to basically figure things out. And hermits, they tend to like have a spot. They like to have their own little nook or area or space to be alone in that they feel good and safe and cozy in. So that's a kind of an important spot for them to be in. For me, for example, I love driving in my car by myself. Like when I'm in my car, I kind of zone out and drive a lot with that muscle memory, like the path where I'm going. And because I really contemplate things within my feelings, I'm a feeler, so I feel deeply. And I get a lot of knowing downloads and information given to me through that. So that calming drive home is very peaceful and grounding for me as a hermit. I'm also a caves environment, which I'm supposed to talk about later, but I'm going to say that now. So the caves environment is a place where I like to feel safe and cozy in too. So like a cave, a bear cave, I'd feel good in, or like I love cozy tents, or like my office here, it's a nice hunkered down cozy little place. I got a bunch of different spots I can hunker into if I needed to while I'm working. But yeah, just you have this spot where you go to. Oh, I should say summertime, I like to sit in the chair, swing out in the tree. So yeah, you just have places and you learn so much without even trying. So sometimes the hermit's called the natural because it looks like they're not really trying to do something, because they don't have to like physically study. They're learning it inside. So from an outside perspective, it just looks like you're natural because you're working so hard figuring it out on the inside. But yes, so that is the 6-2 profile. Then, I forgot to talk about the emotional themes of the generator. I just went crazy. So let's go back to that. So one thing about being me as a generator, when I know that I'm in alignment and I know I'm following my strategy and my decision and making authority, and that I'm doing what's right for me and my path is, flowing the way it needs to go, I'm going to feel this sense of satisfaction inside of me. But when things aren't going so well and, you got more bumps and bruises and things just aren't working and I'm forcing things to happen and, over trying, that's when the frustration comes in. So you feel that big sense of frustration. Yeah. Okay. So my brain is called right brain. It's receptive, and mine's a little different because all 4 of my arrows are right. So I'm what's called a quad right. So I really don't have much focus ability. So for me, it's very, very, very difficult to follow things. So like if we do like presentations and stuff and you're expected to follow a slideshow or something, a presentation on a slideshow, I kind of get lost doing that because I like fumble on my words. I don't know what I should say. Or, I just can't flow when I'm forced to follow things. So the way my brain works is I have to just talk it out or just let it flow or respond to questions that people ask me. So I absolutely love questions because people can pull out more information than you think you have in you when you get questions asked. So it's really amazing to respond to questions for generators. But yes, in the quad right, that just means I'm very receptive. So when I learn, and this is probably why my teachers thought I was so awful in school, in any level of school, I guess, because for me, I can't sit down and learn like a normal, like a left brainer. I don't sit down and focus. If I'm looking at the presentation or the teacher or whatever's like I'm supposed to be learning and just zoning in on that, I'm not paying attention to the thing. So when I learn, I could be drawing pictures or doodling or putting things like even I could even be reading a book and I would still be able to hear what I was learning, like what was going on. So as a quad right in the receptiveness in my brain, it's very hard to go into crowded places or big spaces where there's a lot of people, because like I'll have a conversation with somebody, but while I'm having this conversation, I can still clearly hear at least these three conversations behind me, and then I'm still picking up these other conversations, and I'm pulling everything in, even though I'm not trying to. Like I'm not eavesdropping, or like, I want to hear their conversations. It's just like I'm naturally receiving information without even trying. So that's the weird thing about the quad right and why that's so different. So definitely a different kind of learner. And it's also hard for people that are quad rights to like zone in and focus on something, or a person when they're talking, like looking somebody in the eye is very difficult. So a lot of times throughout school or my younger years, it would I really wouldn't hear certain people, like the people that made me like look them in the eyes when I'm talking to you. Then I'd be literally staring at their face, and because I couldn't keep my focus there, I'd be focusing, saying like, look in the eye, look in the eye, look in the eye, look in the eye, just so I could pay attention to that eye contact, because when that happens, I can't receive the information. So whatever you're saying to me, I can't hear it. I don't know what you said because I'm focused. So that is a tricky thing, and we don't know about stuff like that. So for some people, if you have a right brain, or especially if you have a quad right, all four arrows pointing right, it's a very difficult thing for you. So focus is not a thing. My digestion is called closed taste, and if anybody knows me, I am the pickiest eater, and that's how I'm supposed to be. I am closed taste, so I eat what I feel like eating, what feels right to me at the time, and I have a limited like choice of food that I usually pick, and I usually just cycle through them. So you know me, I'm a macaroni and cheese girl. I'm also a grilled cheese sandwich girl. I'm also like, and that's usually my spring, fall, winter foods. But then when summer comes around, I'm all about the vegetables and the fruits, and I'm still noodles all the time. Macaroni and cheese is always there, things like that. So I don't eat meat very often. Maybe like twice a year I'll crave meat, or every once in a while. It's really rare. I don't like meat much, but that's because I have gate 19. Well, I have the 1949 channel, and I do not have 4037. So I do not have a way to connect that mammalian connection to my stomach. So when I eat red meat, it doesn't really like me. And also that mammal connection that comes with gate 19 is very, very sensitive to red meat. So yes, so that's my design for food, my closed taste. And remember, there are 12 different ways you can have for digestion. And that one's to me is pretty simple, and I've always followed that. And I also have gotten in a lot of trouble with that to say, But people with the right brain, they don't really sometimes remember to eat. Like you might go hours and hours and hours without eating, and you could forget. And that's okay for you, because you can just eat whenever. Like my favorite time to eat is, like, I'll snack throughout the day, and a couple times a week I usually get really hungry and have a decent sized meal during the day. But then later throughout the week I will have dinner like at 9 o'clock in bed, and I love that. Yeah. Okay, my strongest sense is feeling, so I have to feel everything out, and feeling is super important. And it's like feeling inside too, not just like, oh, I'm gonna touch it and feel it. It's more like, how does it feel to me? Like, does it feel good? Does it feel warm? Does it feel safe? Does it feel icky? Does it feel cold? Does it feel dry? Like, what is the attraction to my feeling? And that's how I judge food, things, people, places, what I want to do, all that stuff. It has to feel good, feel correct, I guess. My environment, I already said, was caves, and that is just, I like to feel safe and tucked into my place, right? And my strongest sense, my motivation, is fear. So one thing that I learned how to do is that fear does motivate me. It drives me to take action, and I like to take that fear because it's at the same frequency as excitement, and try to turn that fear into excitement, so then I get that sacral passion and fire to actually make it work. And then I feel it, and it feels great, and I go for it. Or I don't feel it, and then I stop it and I move on, right? Yeah. But that is a basic, quick read, super fast, of a human design chart. So that's kind of the rough information you would receive at a show. So if you are going to be coming to the show on May 6th at the Billings Convention Center, you can get a quick read like this yourself, but just make sure you have your birth date, time, and location. And then, yeah, we can go deeper, way deeper. Now, I'm telling you, this stuff, what I just said here, was not even a tidbit of what you can learn from this chart. Like, this thing, from what I just said, I could talk for days and days and days and days just about my chart. Like, I could just go on forever. It's so amazing how much details and information you can learn, and how to use it and figure out how it can make an amazing difference in your life and the lives of your families and friends and just everything. So, all right, have a great day. Look with love. Talk to you later.